Charlotte Mason's philosophy in a nutshell, like all of these volumes in a nutshell. I actually have a nut. Okay, I lied. I don't have a nutshell, but I do have a nut. So all of Charlotte Mason's volumes in a nutshell. It sounds impossible, but we're gonna try. Hi everyone, welcome to Living with Charlotte. I'm Lillian, creator of livingwithcharlotte.com, a global hub where I curate all the best Charlotte Mason curriculum, events, local groups, and resources in one spot. I am a homeschool mom and a self-proclaimed Charlotte Mason fangirl. If you're new to my channel, this is the first of many podcast episodes about my observations about Charlotte Mason's philosophy so it can be accessible and life-giving as she intended it to be. If you've seen my other videos, this is obviously a new setting. I'm in my living room right now, so I will be recording my podcast episodes here just as if you were sitting across from me in my living room and we're just chatting about Charlotte Mason. I also review Charlotte Mason curriculum where I deep dive into the curriculum. So make sure you check out my recently finished 10-part Alviary review series where I show you everything that is included so you can make an informed decision. Shout out to today's sponsor, Beautiful Teaching. Adrienne Frias, founder of Beautiful Teaching, offers many Charlotte Mason resources, including practical training videos, curriculum, and a podcast. For clarity on bridging Charlotte Mason's principles with the liberal arts tradition, go to beautifulteaching.com, and you can also access conference videos and numerous other valuable resources there. Just in case you don't know too much about my background, I actually studied philosophy at UC Berkeley. I also studied education in a master's program at UC Berkeley. So through that, I had a short stint in public school education, mostly through middle school and high school English. And then I ended up not finishing the program, so I became a career woman. However, talking about Charlotte Mason's philosophy is really the best collision of all my past experience and my present responsibilities as a homeschool mom. Okay, now why this video, Charlotte Mason in a nutshell? Like, if you Google Charlotte Mason, you'll find hopefully you'll find my website, livingwithcharlotte.com, but you will find there is no shortage of blogs, other videos, and courses that teach you about Charlotte Mason's philosophy. And these are really great resources. I'm not saying that mine is going to be better than theirs. What I have found is that so many of these resources walk through the 20 principles, every method, all the terminology, which is very valuable, but it can feel very overwhelming if you're just looking for that brief description of what is Charlotte Mason. By the way, if you are looking for a resource like that where it'll systematically take you through Charlotte Mason's philosophy, I personally have enjoyed Simply Charlotte Mason and Sonia Schaefer. Their videos are excellent, and she really explains in layman's terms what Charlotte Mason's philosophy is. Now, don't let her 70s TV sitcom jingle fool you. That she is very modern in also how she applies Charlotte Mason's philosophy. So I think overall her videos have been very helpful for me personally. But here's a problem I was having is that whenever someone asks me, what is Charlotte Mason? And I actually recently had an old friend ask me what I was doing for homeschooling because she remembers I had mentioned that we were homeschooling like a few years ago. But when someone asks me, okay, what is Charlotte Mason? I think literally my brain freezes. Like, I don't know if you've had that experience, but it'll be like, my brain will freeze. And it's almost like, if you've ever seen the movie Beautiful Mind and John Nash, like all the different things that I could be talking about. I could talk about Born Person or Living Books or No Twaddle or like, the science of relations, or, atmosphere and discipline and life. And, it's like, I'm going through all of that. And like your friend is like, hello, what? I just asked a simple question, supposedly, right? So I don't know about you. I definitely felt like that when someone asked me about Charlotte Mason. It's like, how do I reduce it into one little thing? Like, it's impossible. There's no way to do it. And for the longest time, that was my stance, that like, you just can't reduce it. And in some ways that is very true, but if you had to have that one single description, that is what I am attempting in this video. So Charlotte Mason, how can I reduce it to its core essence? Right? Oftentimes when you ask someone, their usual response to that question of what is Charlotte Mason, sometimes it's like, oh, well, there's so many things. I mean, you just have to go read her volumes. Like, go read all her volumes, and you just need to read her own words. And, I obviously love her volumes. I have this, beautiful set right here. But I feel for people where they're just asking a simple question in their mind, and the response they're getting is like this overwhelming, almost daunting task of going through like old Victorian language philosophy books, and that's the only way to find the answer. So I understand that sometimes people will then feel a bit turned off, or they might not feel inadequate. They might think, oh, Charlotte Mason is only for people who can read her volumes. And there's something about that didn't sit well with me. It didn't sit right with me. And the analogy I thought of is, when someone asks you if you're a believer if you're a follower of Jesus, and if someone asks you, hey, so what is Christianity? Oh man, there's so many things we can talk about our Christian faith. But many of us have been taught, and we know how to explain the gospel in a single sentence. Hopefully, many of you do. You would say something along the lines of, well, we've severed our relationship with God, and we live in sin and rebellion against Him. But He sent His Son, Jesus, to die on a cross to save us. And Jesus rose again to give us a new and redeemed life. Like, we have some kind of version of that prepared when someone asks us, what is the gospel? What is Christianity? What do you believe? Right? Now, that one sentence doesn't capture all of the Christian faith, but we would all agree that it is the very essence of what a Christian believes. We would hopefully agree that it is the essence of what a Christian is, and it is what we would preserve as we grow in our faith. I mean, we could start learning about sanctification, or ecclesiology, or, substitutionary atonement, and etc. That's what I want to do for Charlotte Mason's philosophy today. Give you that nutshell version, and also show you how we preserve this core essence of her philosophy as we continue to grow in it. By the way, if anyone accuses you of not being Charlotte Mason, please just don't listen to them. Okay, I think there are very unhelpful discussions around whether something or someone is more Charlotte Mason than someone else. And part of my mission to share about my observations is to bring that core essence of Charlotte Mason's philosophy back into focus so that you can experience freedom within her philosophy. Now, before we continue, I want to just briefly introduce Charlotte Mason and who she was. So Charlotte Mason was a British educator. She lived from 1842 to 1923 and worked as a classroom teacher in her 20s and 30s. And she trained other teachers and governesses, ultimately spending the rest of her days as being a teacher of teachers. She was never married and didn't have any children. Here it is, Charlotte Mason in a nutshell, with my very best attempt at what that might be. So again, if anyone asks you what is Charlotte Mason, hopefully you can give them some version of this if this kind of rings true. So here's my version. Charlotte Mason believed that the aim of education is virtuous character formation, which is brought forth by, number one, honoring a child's God-given, unique personhood and context. Number two, feeding their mind with the wide variety of life inspiring ideas. And lastly, setting life enabling habits. So that's kind of what I came up with. I would love to know your thoughts on that. So, from my own readings of her philosophy, I felt like I could reduce her philosophy into that statement, and without going into the weeds. Now, I think it's helpful here to show to kind of like show that there are three distinct areas or three distinct terms that people use in the Charlotte Mason world that might kind of be confusing or muddy the waters of what exactly we're talking about when we are discussing her philosophy. So again, this video, I'm not going to be going too deep into her philosophy just yet, but I do want to make these three distinctions. So, number one, her philosophy at large. Number two, the 20 principles that she summarized. And number three are her methods, the Charlotte Mason methods. Now, her philosophy at large. This is what you would consider Charlotte Mason's worldview and her reasoning, her philosophical why undergirding her understanding of education. And it's spread across her 6-volume home education series and her many Parents Review articles. So she says, and this is just a brief recap, in her philosophy, that the aim is character. The formation of character is the ultimate object of education, and that's something she wrote in volume 2. So everything serves the formation of a virtuous person. Education is moral and spiritual, it's not just academic. And she also talks about the high view of the child and gives a very comprehensive understanding of the child as a person, like what is the makeup of the child and how the child learns. So that's her philosophy at large. Number two, her 20 principles. So these are her core tenets of her philosophy of education. It's kind of a subset of her philosophy. It's listed in the preface of all her volumes. And some of the most discussed principles I'll cover in future episodes, but just so you can hear some of the Charlotte Mason terminology that is being used, she talks about like children being born persons, how there are three instruments of education, and there's a famous motto: education is an atmosphere, a discipline, and a life. She talks about the mind feeding on living ideas and education being a science of relations. I know this probably all going over your head if this is new for you, but again, this video is just trying to reduce it into that nutshell. I promise I'll cover these topics in a deeper way in my later episodes. And then lastly, her methods. So these are probably some of the things that you might be most familiar with if you're seeing Instagram or other social media posts. But this is her methods are the practical, the how to's. She'll talk about living books, narration, short lessons, nature study, going outdoors, studying the riches, which, by the way, that term riches is not a term that Charlotte Mason coined herself, and the rest. So, how a Charlotte Mason education might look like in a day. Okay, I know a lot of these terms that I'm throwing out, it feels like it's just going way over your head if this is new to you. So that's totally fine. But I'm going to end the video here because, like I said, this is simply Charlotte Mason's philosophy in a nutshell. And I want to stay within the confines of a nutshell. But as you're probably sensing, there's a lot to unpack. I mean, I know some of you who are familiar with Charlotte Mason, you're probably thinking, well, you didn't even mention living books. I mean, I kind of did, but you didn't talk about living books or talk about narration or nature study. I know I didn't. But again, nutshell. One of my missions in instructing on Charlotte Mason's philosophy on this particular channel is that sometimes I see a lot of unnecessary subculture that has grown along with Charlotte Mason's movement in the homeschool circles. So on one hand, I mean, I would love to see more and more people learn about her philosophy. So I love seeing people just sharing about it. On the other hand, I worry that, these well-intentioned people may lead others astray about what is essentially Charlotte Mason. And I think often the disagreements are at the methods level, right? So if you kind of think what I had talked about, like her philosophy at large is kind of this larger encompassing bucket, and a subset of that philosophy are her principles, and then the methods are what comes out of those principles, what comes out of that philosophy. So I think the way those methods are carried out, there can be a lot of unnecessary prescription about what it must look like. Sometimes I see people having disagreements about a particular book that needs to be used, or a particular curriculum that must be more CM and more Charlotte Mason, or how short or how long a lesson needs to be, or which composers count, or how to even do narration, and etc. So my encouragement to you, if I have any influence in the Charlotte Mason world, I want to appeal to you that what I had said before, just that short nutshell description of Charlotte Mason, where the aim of education is virtuous character formation, which is brought forth by honoring a child's God-given unique personhood and context, feeding their mind with a wide variety of life-inspiring ideas, and setting life-enabling habits, right? If this you feel like is the core of your educational philosophy, then I will wholeheartedly declare that you are indeed following a Charlotte Mason philosophy. And I'm saying this as a Charlotte Mason fangirl who reads and rereads her volumes. And so some, Charlotte Mason veterans, well, they might say, well, at least you need to know her principles, then you'll be Charlotte Mason. And I want to push back a little bit. Like, are we actually memorizing her principles? Like, does anyone know what principle number 13 is off the top of your head? I mean, I don't. Like, I do not have her principles memorized, so I would actually need to look this up, which I'm doing right now. Okay, principle number 13, in case you didn't know, if you're like me. Number 13, in devising a syllabus for a normal child or of whatever social class, 3 points must be considered. He requires much knowledge, for the mind needs sufficient food as much as does the body, etc., etc. It's quite long. So again, I would say don't listen to the naysayers. I can't help but make similar analogies with what it means to be a Christian. There are going to be the Pharisees equivalent of people telling you that, oh, you're not CM because you're not doing this and you're not doing that. But yeah, don't listen to them. Rather, I encourage you to start with that core essence and just grow from there. So just as if those of you who are Christian have grown in your own faith, right? It's the same with Charlotte Mason's philosophy. Grow at your own pace, just as we would allow the same grace for our own children, and lean into just the bountiful, creative ways God will lead you in how your Charlotte Mason journey will look like. So again, there is freedom in her philosophy. And if it's not life-giving for your homeschool, then perhaps you're getting caught up with all the specifics that you see around you. And it's not about finding the right book or the right curriculum or it looking like the people that you might see online. So just go back to that core. So that is Charlotte Mason in a nutshell. And if you like this video, if you like my philosophical musings about Charlotte Mason, then please hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when my next video drops. And my goal is to have 1,000 subscribers. So like I mentioned before, if I can meet that goal, then that is clearly a sign that some of my content and my reviews are helpful for you. So give me great encouragement to keep going. Also, comment below. Do you agree with this being the core essence of her philosophy? I'd love to, get your opinion on that. Mind you, I'm not talking about her methods, right? So that's why I'm making that distinction. I am just talking about her philosophy. I'll be discussing more about her philosophy. Perhaps I might do like a read along in her volumes. Please let me know if you would be interested in that. Finally, I send out an email called the Charlotte Mason Weekly every Friday, where you will get the latest news and updates about Charlotte Mason and Charlotte Mason curriculum, including discounts and sales, and that goes straight to your inbox. So if you're the kind of person like where you just want that one email digest of the Charlotte Mason world without having to subscribe to a whole bunch of other emails, then this one is for you. So I'll leave the link where you can sign up in the description box and in the comments below. That's it. I hope you liked my first podcast episode. I hope you like my humble little living room, and my dog is, he was relatively tame, although he was probably barking in the background a lot. But anyways, that's it for now, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.